Hi, this is Yvonne McNary for Central Kentucky Television, and I'm here today with Juanita Heron. How you doing, Juanita?
I'm doing great. What about yourself, Yvonne?
I'm doing really well. And Juanita is here from the Marion County Extension Office.
That's right.
And she's going to help us out with a couple of things today. You know, it's getting close to holiday season.
Oh, I know. But I can almost hear those turkeys gobbling already, right? They're probably saying, save me, right?
Well, you know, as you come up our driveway here, some days you may see some turkeys running across because they seem to like it out here with Gary.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Well, you know, one thing, too, we always want to be careful of during the holiday season is cooking our food. Right, and we always hear of turkey stories later on after Thanksgiving and salmonella stories.
Oh, yes.
So we definitely want to avoid that.
We do. And there's a lot of things that you can to avoid that. I think sometimes people get in a hurry, you know, and they just kind of forget some of these things.
Right.
Yes.
Because it's all pretty much just common sense.
It's all common sense. And, you know, let's just talk about the turkey.
Okay.
You know, you're going to purchase your turkey, right? And of course, they're always frozen. You know, most everybody is purchasing a frozen turkey, and that's fine. And if you're doing that, you want to make sure that you are taking that turkey out ahead of time for it to thaw up for Thanksgiving. Now, and I'm saying taking it out of the freezer.
Okay.
Now, you didn't hear me say setting it on the counter, right?
No.
No, you do not want to thaw any kind of meat or poultry, fish, anything like that on the counter. But you want to take that turkey out and set it in the bottom of your refrigerator, probably approximately maybe a couple of 3 days. It depends on the size of your turkey. And you want to let it thaw in the refrigerator, not on the counter. And the reason is that, because of course the turkey can be thawing, and it's thawing on the outside, but it has to stay out there long enough to thaw that inner part of that turkey. And then when you're doing that, that turkey is probably already setting out over 2 hours. And when we do that, we're setting ourselves up for trouble from the very get-go.
Okay, before we even get started.
Before we get started, that bacteria is already forming after 2 hours.
Okay, so what should we do with that turkey?
Okay, after it's thawed, well, we want to cook it. Now, can I add one thing about the thawing?
Okay.
Okay. Yvonne, maybe that you said, oh, I forgot to put my turkey out down the bottom of the refrigerator. But there is a little thing. You can submerge that turkey in some cold water.
All right.
And you want to take that turkey and submerge it down in cold water. And you want to do that, change that water every 30 minutes until that turkey is thawed.
Okay.
So, you know, people saying, okay, I didn't get my turkey out. Well, that's okay. You can do that, and I have done that.
Okay. And it turns out okay?
It turns out just fine. Again, it's not setting out long enough to get that bacteria that's forming on that turkey.
Okay. All right. So that's good.
That's good. And then we have to get ready to cook the thing, right? Do you cook a turkey, Yvonne?
I have cooked turkeys before.
I do too.
A whole turkey with
everything.
Where you have to reach in the inside and pull the things out?
Yes.
Yes. I have cooked a turkey before.
Well, I am so proud of you, Yvonne. And that's something, again, when you are getting prepared for that turkey, like Yvonne says, we have to clean it out and make sure we're getting all the little giblet pieces out because you sure don't want to cook those. And your turkey will have a little plastic on the end that's holding those legs together.
Right.
You want to make sure that you're removing that also. And then, you know, get that turkey always clean, and then, you know, start putting your seasoning on in the pan that you're going to cook it in. And after you get that turkey ready to go in the oven, now I said we've already cleaned out the turkey, but you know sometimes you've got where that turkey has been on the surface of your counter, maybe in the sink, and I hope you've cleaned that sink thoroughly before you start washing that turkey and getting it ready. When you do that, you want to make sure, after you get that done, you want to make sure that you are cleaning that entire surface there in your kitchen down with some bleach water, some disinfectant. You want to make sure, because that poultry, you know, can have some germs. You're talking about the salmonella? Okay, that raw turkey, that's not a good thing either. So just make sure we're disinfecting all that. And then put that bird in and let it cook.
Let that bird cook.
Yes.
Yes, I've cooked it. I've smoked it on the grill.
Yes.
And that's really good turkey. And I've cooked it in the oven. And
Yes.
that takes a while.
That takes a while. And Yvonne, with some of this, it goes by the poundage of your turkey, how long we need to cook that. So, and on your turkey, usually they have a little label there that's telling you ever how many pounds your turkey is. That's how long you should cook that turkey. And those are very good recommendations. And you want to make sure that you're following those recommendations. Don't pull that turkey out too soon, because it might be starting to cook on the outer part, but not on the inner part.
Right.
So we get to the inner part, right?
Right.
Even though the recommendations is on that turkey, every how many hours that it needs to cook, I highly recommend that you use a meat thermometer. Okay? And if you can see here, I'm showing here, this turkey needs to be up to at least 165 degrees, the internal temperature. So when you're going to use a meat thermometer with your turkey, you don't just stick it in the top of the breast or in where the wings are. You want to get into that thigh part and the inner part, and you make sure that that's coming up to 165.
Okay.
And you might want to do that in a couple of areas on that turkey to make sure. Yes, to make sure. And I highly recommend for anybody to get a meat thermometer. And if they don't have one, they're an inexpensive item to purchase. I always like to use those.
Good old turkey. I love turkey. And like you said, it goes per pound.
It goes per pound. Yes, it does. And, let me say this. There is a hotline that we have all the time. There is a meat hotline, if I can find it here real quick. USDA has a hotline all the time, especially during the holidays. Even on Thanksgiving Day. It's open. It's an 800 number. And you know, Yvonne, I'm looking for it and I'm not seeing it here.
Well, maybe
right here it is. And the 800 number is 1-888-674-6854. And that hotline is always open.
Always open. Well,
yes.
That's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
Yes, indeed. For those people who are baking a turkey for the first time.
Oh, I've been there.
I have too.
And you know, when you're, can I say that after you've had your turkey, your meal, it is very, very important after you have your meal. You know, you're sitting around, you're full of turkey and dressing, and you're thinking, I've got to clean up, right? Got to clean up. Let me just say this. Enjoy your family, but when you're finished, start putting those leftovers in the refrigerator. Put your refrigerator items up.
Yeah.
Okay? And then sit down and enjoy your time with your family.
All right, I certainly will. Thank you for the good advice here for my turkey this year. I'm not sure whether I'm going to cook one or not, but I will keep in mind all the thawing process.
Right, and I'm leaving you some little little temperature, little magnets put on your refrigerator, and even how long it keep to do those leftovers.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
And you know, we talk about cooking the turkey, but we also know that we also look forward to the dessert.
Dessert, is that the main thing?
Main course.
Main course. And everybody has people over, right? Okay.
So we want to do something a little different today,
Yes.
something that maybe our viewers haven't heard of.
You may not have heard of that, and I know that people that have family coming in, sometimes you have younger children that are coming in, and you're thinking they need something to do too. They need to contribute to this. But today we're going to make pumpkin pie in a bag.
Never heard of it.
We're going to do pumpkin pie in a bag. You know, I'm all about this easy cleanup, Yvonne.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Well, what we're going to do today, we're doing a pumpkin pie in a bag, and Yvonne has her recipe, and I'm just going to run through the recipe that some of you all might want to try at home, and we're going to have this. We do have this at the Marion County Cooperative Extension Office.
And we'll get your pencil and paper. If you don't have it right now, I'll repeat this a little bit later.
Right. Okay. And this one will serve about 25 small cups. And that is this little cup right here we're going to use too.
Okay.
Pumpkin pie in a cup and in a bag. How about that one?
Wow.
So what you're going to do, you're going to use a gallon bag, this little Ziploc bag, and we're going to use 2 2/3 cup of cold milk. We have 2 packets of our little instant vanilla pudding here. We're going to use 1 can, this little 15-ounce solid can of pumpkin. We're going to use some ginger. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and a half a teaspoon of ginger. And we've got graham cracker crumbs. And what did you tell me about these graham cracker crumbs when I got here?
I never would have thought of looking for graham cracker crumbs in the
Yes.
store, but they are available and they're so convenient.
They're available and they're convenient, and when around the holidays you don't have time sometimes to mash up those.
To crush up.
Yes,
Crush 'em
but
up.
if you need some stress relief or let those kids do it, that's something they can do. They can crush those up. And like I said, this recipe is going to make 25 small cups, and then we're going to use just a little whipped topping on top. So are you ready to get started?
I'm ready to get started.
Okay, I got my little Ziploc bag and put this one over here. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to let you drop the instant pudding. And remember, we're using 2 of the 3.5 ounces little bags. Yvonne is doing that. And then we're going to use 2/3 cup. And Yvonne's going to hold that for me. And I'm going to put 1 2/3 cup. And you notice, Yvonne, I'm using 1% milk today.
Okay.
You know, all of that turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes.
All that gravy on those.
All those
potatoes.
gravy, yes. So, we're trying to use a little less calories,
Yes,
right? We're
yes,
going to
we
use some 1% milk. Now, what we're aiming to do now, we've got that, and our recipe says we just want to make sure that we're just mixing it up. So this is where the kids come in, or somebody that, maybe you have somebody that doesn't like to do a lot of cooking, but they said, oh, I've got something real easy for you to do.
And when family's over, you have so much conversation going
Oh,
on.
you do.
So
You do.
Anybody can do this who's just sitting and chatting and doing
Yes, and you see, we're just working it right in our bag. Make sure we're getting all of that dry. Now, does that seem like it's pretty simple? You didn't have to use a mixer or anything, did
No,
you?
you didn't.
This is the convenience of this. Now, what we're going to do, we've got this. It said to do it for about a minute, and I think we're pretty close to that.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that all of our dry pudding, instant pudding, and you want to use instant. Now, you don't want to use the cooked kind. You got to use the instant.
Instant pudding.
Yes. Then what we're going to do, I'm going to let Yvonne hold my bag again, and we're going to take this entire can of pumpkin, and you see we have already put it in the bowl. I'm going to put the entire can. I'm just going to set that to the side. And then while you're holding that, Yvonne, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my cinnamon, which is 1 teaspoon. And I've got this little handy gadget measuring spoon. It's 4 in 1. And I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of my cinnamon. And I just love cinnamon.
Smells good.
I know it. And I'm setting it down because sometime you might have an accident and might have a little bit too much in there.
Cinnamon is one of those ingredients that you expect for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
and the
yes.
fall.
All right, I'm going to put that 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then we're going to put a half a teaspoon of ginger. Instead of me getting that everywhere, the little back is my half a teaspoon, and I'm just going to shake this little half a teaspoon of ginger in here.
Well, Juanita, you've got all the gadgets, don't you?
We have a lot of little gadgets. University of Kentucky is very good to us about sending us things to use. They call them reinforcement items. And a lot of times with our programs, we get to give this stuff away.
Good.
Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to just zip it back up.
Okay.
And I'm going to use, I got a little bit of pumpkin right here. So I'm going to zip it back up, Yvonne. Then we're just going to work it again. Kind of made a mess, didn't I, Yvonne?
Oh, that's okay. That's
part of cooking.
That's part of the love that goes into it.
There you go. You get a little air out of here. Make it go a little easier.
It mixes pretty well.
It does.
And quickly.
It does. I really like this recipe. It's one of our older recipes that we've used over the years, but it's just something a little bit different. Sometimes you just have to work all of that dry ingredients. And if you wanted to, you could put your cinnamon and your nutmeg in your pumpkin before you even put it in here. That might be, something, a little tidbit that might be a little easier. Because you see there, we still got some cinnamon there, and we're just going to keep working it.
There it goes.
It could be a little stress relief thing here for us,
And if you got that husband there with you who's watching the football game and his team's not winning, you can hand it over to him and let him squeeze.
That's right. So, you're seeing, Yvonne, we've just about got it all done. Now, I know you said you knew about ice cream in a bag, and now you're going to see about pumpkin pie in a bag.
Wow.
Now, what we're aiming to do, we've got graham cracker crumbs, right? All right. We're going to take a couple of our cups, and we're just going to put some graham crackers down at the bottom.
Okay. That looks good. And like I said, if you don't have the crumbs, you can always get the regular graham
crackers. And probably if at my house, I would have just purchased the regular graham crackers. But you see this. Now, we're going to get all of our mixture down here.
That looks good.
It does look good. It looks like pumpkin pie, doesn't it?
It does. It really does look like pumpkin pie.
Yvonne did not know when I was telling her about this. So what you want to do, just want to kindly get it all shoved to the bottom, and we're just going to roll it. Yvonne, I may need your assistance because what we're going to do, we're going to cut a hole here. We're going to cut a hole, so we try not to have too much of a mess here. And we're going to add this. Now, Yvonne, I'm going to let you hold my bag. You'll get the other cup over here.
This looks like one of those little pudding cups.
It does. Oops, I think I got my hand in it. Sorry. Okay. Now, while they're sitting there, while I'm still pouring, you could do that, or we bought some little mini pie shells that are already graham crackers. And we can make those, and then we're going to garnish them. Yvonne, you can just put your...
Making that hole in there, that really does a good job.
It does. A lot of times people think they got to have a pastry bag. Well, you can just use
make your own pastry bag, can't you?
Yes, you can. Now, I'm going to let you scoot the other one over here.
Okay.
Now you can see we've got our little pies, and I'm just going to kind of set this right here so we don't have everything. So I'm just going to take a spoon and I'm just going to kind of smooth them out a little bit, Yvonne.
To make it fit the cup?
Yeah, make it fit the cup. And if you'll pull those cups back down here, and we're just going to kind of just smooth it up just a tad. Now, what we're going to do, we're just going to take some little, pumpkin pie is not pumpkin pie. Excuse me, I've got pumpkin on my hand here. Pumpkin pie is not pumpkin pie unless you have some whipped topping, right?
Right.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're just going to add a little whipped topping on top. And then, if you like cinnamon or your ginger or whatever, you could come back and just sprinkle a little extra.
Yeah, you could.
So we're just going to put just a little extra cinnamon.
Those are pretty. And that's something great for the kids to do too. They'd want to help you to sprinkle.
Yes, they like for you to sprinkle. But you can see, Yvonne, we've got our little pumpkin pie in a bag, And like I said, I brought the cups and I also brought the little pie shells, individual pie shells. So we're ready to eat.
It's easy.
It's easy. It is very easy. This is one of the easiest little recipes that we can use.
Why don't you give us that recipe again?
Okay, what you need to have is like a gallon bag. You're going to take 2 2/3 cups of cold milk. You're going to use 2 packages of your 3.5 ounces, or you could just get a large instant vanilla pudding. You're going to use 1 can of solid pumpkin. You're going to use 1 teaspoon of your cinnamon, and you're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, and you're going to use some graham cracker crumbs, and then all you need is just some little small clear cups.
Yep.
Or you could use the little pie shells and then take your whipped topping, and you've got it. And then all you have to do is just mix it up.
Yes, indeed. This is something quick and easy for
It's
the holiday.
quick and easy, that's exactly.
And I'm sure the kids will love it.
They will love it. Or you can, like I said, we sprinkle that. You can always do a little extra graham cracker crumbs. But I would make this suggestion, you know how it is with pumpkin pie, don't put your whipped topping on until you get ready to eat it. But you could make these up a little earlier, set them back in the refrigerator, get them out, and then enjoy.
Fantastic. So we've talked about our turkey today and how to stay safe, how to
Going to
cook,
be safe.
how to have a safe turkey, and we've talked about a quick and easy dessert.
That's right.
Pumpkin pie.
Pie. In
In a bag.
In a bag.
In a bag. I never thought I would see it, but hey, I learn something new every time you
Well,
come.
we always learn something new, don't we?
Yes, we do. Well, listen, thank you. Hand me a spoon over there.
Okay, Yvonne's going to try it
Go
out.
over here and taste this. I'm a taste tester today.
Does it taste like pumpkin pie?
Yes, it does.
Because
It's delicious.
Because we're making a regular pumpkin pie, we always let it get cold before we eat it. This is just a little alternative.
Yes, it is. Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me out.
This has been Juanita Heron here with me today from the Marion County
Thank you.
Extension Office, and we're making some really good treats here, and like I said, good information about cooking our turkeys. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Be sure you can get on the hotline and see about that turkey. And if you have any questions, please call the Extension Office, 692-2421.
Okay. This has been Yvonne McNary for Central Kentucky Television.